I will take the winning day and we'll take another winning Nrfi yesterday. That's 31-9 in our last 40 Nrfis here on the channel, and 3-2 as a whole yesterday. Cashed the Nrfi, of course, cashed Cardinals money line early in the day, and cashed the Detroit Tigers on the road in Pittsburgh. So let's look for another positive day on the channel. Let's look to make that Nrfi record even better today as well, folks. Before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB best bets here on the channel. According to YouTube's analytics, over half of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure to do so if you have not yet. All I ask, if you're enjoying the videos, make sure to subscribe and like. It helps us out on the channel a lot, so make sure to do both of those. Greedo plays MMA this week. Our UFC Fight Night Sacramento predictions, our Contender Series predictions were posted yesterday, and tomorrow we're gonna have our PFL Tampa predictions. So go make sure to check out Greedo Plays MMA if you have not yet. Okay, let's go. First to 5 bets today for Tuesday, and we kick things off with our player prop. I've been waiting so long to do this, and I feel like today's finally the right spot for it. Why haven't I taken a Steven Kwan player prop just yet? It's never at any good value. Of course, we've talked about it at length. The second half of the season emergence out of Steven Kwan. I'm not going to go down the entire spiel again, but yes, this was a guy who was batting 195 about 3 months ago. He's now hitting 265 with a 700 OPS. Oh, he only batted 403 in the month of July with the 1000 OPS, and he's hitting 340 currently in the month of August with an 850 OPS. Yeah, I think Steven Kwan's okay. So why haven't I been given the opportunity to take Steven Kwan at this value? Or just in general, it is the value. I ruined it. Usually we don't get Steven Kwan at minus 130, minus 135, hell, even minus 140 on over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI, because of course, well, the guy batted 400 this month, he's batting 340 this month, and usually when Steven Kwan gets on base, he's scoring a run, right? Not a big RBI guy. I mean, Kwan has 4 RBI in the month of August, and in a month in July where he hit over 400, well, he only had 13 RBI, which again is fine. Sorry, he had 6 RBI. Again, Steven Kwan's usually not in a position to bring runners in, and that's obviously not at his own fault. That's just the fact that he bats leadoff for the Guardians. Now, don't get me started on the, don't get me going on the new metrics way of arranging a lineup like the Phillies have been doing with the Luis Arraez. Would it benefit the Guardians to bat Steven Kwan in the 3 or the 4 spot to put a guy who bats over 300 there? I don't know. I'm just saying that's the new age way of doing things. I mean, do you bat DeLauder in the 1? Do you bat J-Ram in the 2? And then do you bat Kwan just to try to get somebody on base for him? Because again, I will say, we've taken a lot of Cleveland Guardians Nrfis. And for the most part, Steven Kwan starts the game on first base with either a walk or with a hit. Again, 850 OPS in August, he gets on base, right? OBP's 440 in the month, right? I mean, nearly half the time Steven Kwan steps into the box, he's going to first base. So would you not rather him, I am not going to get too carried away, but would you not rather, maybe DeLauder's on first base? Say J-Ram even gets out, say DeLauder's on first, okay, you got to pitch to Kwan now. It's not like you can walk him like potentially teams do to start the game, because then you'd have first and second one out. Again, I'm putting that out there. For a guy who's hitting so well, yeah, he just isn't given the RBI opportunity because, well, the Guardians' bottom of the lineup isn't the best. Of course, you get production out of Kwan, and you get DeLauder in the 2 spot, J-Ram in the 3. They're struggling at the bottom of their lineup. Travis Bazzana is having a really awful second half of the year, right? We are seeing Steven Kwan reemerge as a legit all-star type player, and we're seeing Travis Bazzana, who in the first half was an all-star, and the second half he's been pretty atrocious, let's just say, right? Batted 190 in the month of June, batted 230 in the month of July, now batting sub 200 under the Mendoza line at 195 in the month of August. He's batting in the 7 spot. You're going to see like Rocchio in the 8th, Austin Hedges down there at the bottom of the lineup. My point being, there's usually not runners on for Steven Kwan. And of course, Kwan is primarily just a singles guy. Of course, can hit home runs every, once in a blue moon. Of course, he did hit a home run at Wright Field in Chicago last week, but primarily a single machine. Now, again, that's fine with me. Obviously, the Guardians aren't just going to switch overnight and adapt. I don't even want to call it an adaptation. I just think it's something that teams are trying, and I don't mind it personally. Again, batting your best average guy in the 3 or in the 4 spot. But regardless, like we see the Nationals, they bet James Wood, when they're healthy, Wooden lead off. CJ Abrams, best average guy in the 3 spot. Abrams leads all of MLB in RBI. I'm not telling you Steven Kwan would lead Major League Baseball in RBI if he batted in the 3 spot. Obviously, Kwan doesn't have the power of player like CJ Abrams got, but you kind of get my point a little bit, right? I mean, you're seeing teams put their best power guys and their best hitter in general in the leadoff spot. Schwarber, Ohtani, PCA, Wood. Like, a lot of teams are doing this now. Anyways, Kwan's the best average guy for the Guardians, and usually when he gets hits, he scores. Now, last game for Steven Kwan was a rare no-hit game for him against the San Diego Padres. That's only the third, I believe, in the last 2.5 months where Kwan has been held hitless. And actually, I think for the first time in a very long time, he was held off the base paths as Kwan just went straight up 0-for-4 without a walk against the San Diego Padres. But pretty much in every single game that Kwan gets a hit, he's going to score eventually too. Kwan against the Padres in the first 2 games of the series goes 1-for-3 and 2-for-4. Game 1, that 1-for-3 game, he scores a run in that one, walks twice. In the game in which he goes 2-for-4 on Saturday against the Padres, he scores 2 runs and actually has that rare RBI as well. I think Kwan's in a great opportunity has a great opportunity in this game. And to answer the question I kind of posed earlier, why don't we get Steven Kwan at this value? Well, it's usually because, again, he bats 340 in the month. The reason why it is at this value is probably the better question to ask, is because there's a left-hander going today for the San Francisco Giants. Of course, San Francisco's in Cleveland. It's going to be Patrick Bailey's revenge series, I guess, if you want to put it, right? Man, the Giants are struggling behind the dish right now, too. But regardless, I guess on paper, it's not a good matchup for Steven Kwan. I don't care that Carson Whisenhunt's a southpaw. If this was Robbie Ray still in San Francisco, I get it, right? Robbie Ray, who's actually pitching in New York today against the Mets, not covering that game. Thanks for nothing, by the way, yesterday, Nolan McClan. Pitched well. I got bailed out by Carson Bench in right field. Carson Bench is a machine, by the way. But regardless, if this was Robbie Ray, I'd be a little bit concerned. Okay, that's a high-tier lefty. That's a guy who obviously, is pretty productive, around a 3 ERA or less. It's Carson Whisenhunt. Carson Whisenhunt, who really has yet to see any success at the major league level. 6.11 ERA for Whisenhunt this year with a 1.71 whip. Last season wasn't good in limited appearances either, but he's been struggling this year. And of course, the position the Giants are at right now, they are given the opportunity to pitch guys like Whisenhunt and give them long leashes because, well, obviously their season is over. I mean, they just called up Tugboat yesterday, or today I think they're calling up Tugboat. That's great, and I think he's just going to slide into their bullpen. But it's a Giants rotation that features Logan Webb, Landon Roop, Carson Whisenhunt, Blade Tidwell, and Adrian Hauser. That's one of the weakest rotations in all of the sport. You combine that with one of the worst bullpens in the sport, and now the lineup that they're throwing out there, my goodness, other than Jung-Hoo Lee, Devers, and obviously Bryce Eldridge, it is a brutal 1-9 for San Francisco. I don't trust Whisenhunt in the slightest. I don't at all. He's not great. Last outing for him was, I'd argue, his best as a major leaguer against the Astros last Tuesday. He goes 5 2/3, 4 hits and 1 run. That's by far the best outing of his career. Let's not forget, though, what he did prior to those games in Texas against the Rangers. 4 runs in 3 innings. Against the Padres in San Diego, how about 6 runs in 3 innings? Angels, 4 runs in 5 innings. He hasn't been the greatest, and a 1.71 whip really speaks for itself. I think Kwan probably just straight up gets 2 hits against Whisenhunt. I mean, again, it can be a run and a score, a hit and a score. That can work for us too. I mean, the rare RBI also works as well. I think the simplest way here is multiple hits for Steven Kwan. I think it is, right? We've seen Kwan with multiple hits 4 times already in the month of August. It's a big factor in this game. I do believe he will see a lot of success against Whisenhunt, a guy that gives up quite a bit of hits. And I know Cleveland's not a high-scoring team by any stretch of the imagination, but they should be able to score on Carson Whisenhunt. And even if the matchup's just really bad, which I understand, they're both lefties, I really don't care. Because Kwan's been fine recently against left-handed pitching, and the Guardians will still be batting most likely Kwan in the leadoff spot today. Even if the matchup against Whisenhunt is bad, okay, just there will be right-handed relievers coming out of the bullpen for the Giants. They are very righty-heavy out of their bullpen, except for, Riviere San Martin is their only lefty currently out of the bullpen. They got one more, I'm blanking, Sam Hentages. But, I mean, they have a bunch of righties who are all very mid. JT Brubaker, Carson Seymour, Jason Foley, Dylan Smith, Keaton Wynn. They're going to throw a bunch of righties towards the tail end of this game. I think Kwan will get it truthfully before the Giants even reach into that bullpen. Maybe not, because Whisenhunt, I don't know how many times Whisenhunt's going to go around that Guardians order, but I think Cleveland likely smashes him here, and I think Steven Kwan puts up at least 2 hits, runs, and RBI in this game as well. Kwan hasn't gone back-to-back games hitless in 2 months plus, so should be fine here. It can be Kwan over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI at -135 at home for the Guardians at Progressive Field. On to our second best bet of the video, we move on to our Nrfi for today. Let's double up on the Tampa Bay Rays, right? The 2 teams that are our Nrfi kings, well, the entire American League Central, but more specifically the aforementioned Cleveland Guardians and right here, the Tampa Bay Rays. We go to it again yesterday, and it cashes for us. Yandy Diaz is on second base with one out yesterday, but we find a way. Caminero lines out to short, and then we get a pop out of Liam Hicks. We'll take it. Nrfi cashes yet again. Again, the record is 31-9 in our last 40 Nrfis. It's really good. I don't know what to say. That's really good stuff. Hopefully that continues yet again today. High scoring game yesterday in Tampa. Rays finally get one off of Baltimore, right? That's a series where they were in danger of being swept as Baltimore took the first three. Rays avoid the sweep by winning 7-6 yesterday. They scored 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning after, again, being on the verge of swept. They find a way again to win, but high-scoring game, no runs in the first inning. I watched Kobe Mayo demolish a baseball 470 feet in the top of the second. What? Off of McClanahan. My goodness, Kobe Mayo destroyed that baseball. But there was nothing scored in the first inning. Baltimore goes down fairly easily. It's a 1-2-3 inning, even though everyone in the Baltimore lineup yesterday 1 through 6 had a hit, but none of which came in the first. And then Tampa, of course, led off the inning with a Yandy Diaz walk, but ultimately, Young holds them hitless. Aranda flies out. Diaz tags the second. Caminero lines out, and of course, we talked about Liam Hicks popping out. So runners stranded in scoring position for Tampa Bay, and we'll take it. And again, I will say it all the time with Rays money, or with Rays Nrfis, the name of the game, limit the big three at the top of the lineup. As long as only one of the three get on, and of course, as always, we got to contain Junior Caminero and not allow him to leave the park, we should be fine. So yesterday, yes, Yandy Diaz gets on, but it's all about, okay, you got to get Aranda, you got to get Caminero, and that's exactly what Brandon Young does. And then he goes out and gets Liam Hicks. Hicks gets under one, and boom, pop out, inning over. Great. We're going to try again today. I love the pitching matchup. I do. Nick Martinez, the starter tonight for Tampa Bay, Eduardo Rodriguez, guys that I'm just like, I've stopped trying to figure out, and I've just accepted, okay, the advanced metrics just don't make sense on them. Yesterday, I tried to go against our trusty advanced metrics just a little bit with Tomoyuki Sugano, right, watching the way the Dodgers had been hitting and the way that the Rockies can hit, especially at home, and, well, it didn't go our way. That's, Sugano finally had his blow-up start, and it was at home against the Dodgers. Edwin Diaz almost got us the +2.5, though, right? Almost. We had for us, not for the game's sake, but for the +2.5, the tying run was in the on-deck circle. And there was a moment with one out when Tovar was at the plate. I was thinking, okay, Tovar gets on. I think we might cash this. Unfortunately, we didn't, and we only go 3-2 yesterday, regardless. We did play against the advanced metrics a little bit yesterday with Tomoyuki Sugano, and that's why we don't do that. But in terms of Nick Martinez and Eduardo Rodriguez, but specifically Nick Martinez, he defies these metrics. The hard-hit rate doesn't matter with Nick Martinez. The fact that he's only throwing 93 miles an hour max, that does not matter. He's throwing a little bit harder than that, but regardless, the fact that he doesn't throw hard does not matter for Nick Martinez. He gets outs. And this is the definition of a Chad innings eater. His last game against the Sacramento Athletics in West Sac at Sutter Health Park. Yeah, how about a complete game where he gave up 4 runs? If that's not a Chad innings eater, I don't know what is. Final line for Nick Martinez in West Sacramento. 9 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. Respect. 5 strikeouts. That is the typical Chad innings eater game. But that's what Nick Martinez does. He's a pitch to contact guy. He's not going to blow you away. He's going to average, he's going to say anywhere from 2 to 4 strikeouts per game. He had 5 getting 27 outs. He knows what his role is, and he's done it exceptionally well this year. Again, will this work in the playoffs? In a 5-game series against a healthy Yankees team? I don't know, but it's working this year. It's working in the regular season. I just need it to work for 3 more outs. That's all I need. I need 3 outs against one of the worst lineups in Major League Baseball. That's what the Toronto Blue Jays are. They have a very realistic chance to make the playoffs. I will tell you that right now. They have a very realistic chance, but it's not going to be because of their bats. Their bats suck. And they suck especially early in games. Now, Toronto's very in it right now. This wild card race is just so stupid. It's absurd. There's currently a 3-way tie for the last wild card spot. And like we predicted yesterday, right? I told you Tigers are going to win. Orioles probably lose. Again, we took the Nrfi, but regardless, I was saying the ideal scenario yesterday for Detroit was beat Pittsburgh and hope Baltimore loses. Boom, you're back in after being swept against the Sox. And that's exactly what the Tigers have done, who, by the way, have a plus 86 run differential. Really? This is crazy. Tigers plus 86 run differential. They have the same record as the Rangers, who have a minus 47 run differential. hopefully somebody gives the Rangers an even worse run differential today. I don't know. Might be on that later. Just saying. Anyways. So Detroit's back in it for now. And we talk about how awful the Twins have been recently. They win one game yesterday against the Atlanta Braves. Shout out to my boy Josh Bell, huge ground rule double in the first inning. That's my guy, leader of the book club. Big fan. Twins are a half a game out of a playoff spot. The Mariners have sucked for ages. They win 2 in a row against the Astros, 2 games out of a playoff spot. Don't look now, the Kansas City Royals have won back-to-back games. I'm not joking. The Kansas City Royals, it would take a crazy run, but it could happen. The Royals, who are 22 games under 500, are at 9 games out of a playoff spot. 9 games. They're 22 under, and they're 9 games out of the playoffs. For reference, again, I've given up on the Nationals trying to make the playoffs, but for reference, the Nationals are 6 games under in the National League. We're 7 out of a playoff spot. Again, the Nationals are completely done this season in terms of trying to make the playoffs. Will they win specific games? Maybe. But in terms of the playoffs, is that not the craziest thing ever? You're 9 games out and you're 22 under 500. Again, the Royals are probably not going to the playoffs. They just DFA'd Starling Marte yesterday. Not like that really affects their odds either negatively or positively. But I'm just saying, that's how absurd the entire thing is. Don't get me started. The Angels are 27 games under. Did I do my math right? I definitely did not do my math right there. No, they are. I did do my math right. I need to trust myself. They're 27 games under. They're 12 games out of the playoffs. But everything works for Detroit, and Baltimore, of course, Toronto is still definitely in the thick of things. I think I don't know. It's, to me, again, it's between Detroit and Toronto for who gets that wild card spot. The Blue Jays are awful at the plate. They're more than awful. They are atrocious. Their bats suck. You are likely going to see today 1, 2, 3, 4 for Toronto. Well, it's going to be no Vladimir Guerrero because Guerrero is still in the IL, and obviously it's much better away from Toronto than he does, of course, in his home country. But you're going to see in the leadoff spot Brett Bateman, who I don't believe has an ounce of power. He came back in the Kevin Gausman trade. Nathan Lucas, Alejandro Kirk, who's Mr. Double Play in Sunday's game against the Yankees, and of course in Game 7 of the World Series, and then Jesus Sanchez in the 4. Concern level, very low. Now, of course, Nick Martinez is a pitch-to-contact guy. Somewhat, you can get a hold of Nick Martinez some. He had a game against the White Sox at the end of July where he did give up 4 home runs and 6 runs in the game in general, but he's a crafty veteran. He finds ways to get outs, and I think he'll be fine. I truly think he will. Who on the Blue Jays really hurts us here? My concern is Nathan Lucas, but they're not going to piece together hits. It's going to be, okay, one over the fence and someone gets a hold of one. I think we're going to be fine. And on the flip side, Jose Soriano's pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays. Sure, I'm cool with this. Jose Soriano's been great as a Toronto Blue Jay so far. 1.69 ERA for Soriano after being traded from the Angels to Toronto. The wonders it does for a pitcher to get away from Anaheim, California. I don't know. Soriano's been great as a Blue Jay. First outing for him, 5 innings of 2-run ball, but only 1 run earned, against the Phillies. Last outing against the Red Sox, 6 innings, 4 hits, and 1 run. The Blue Jays are 2-0 with Jose Soriano on the mound. He had a great start to the year, struggled some throughout the middle of the season, of course, with the Angels. Of course, the walks have been a major concern out of him. He did walk 3 batters in his Blue Jays debut at the bank against the Phillies and only walked 2 batters against the Red Sox. Hopefully, we can continue to cut down those walks with Soriano, but truthfully, I just don't care what happens after the first inning. As long as you don't walk anyone in the first, we should be fine. And that's the thing against the Rays. You do not want to give this team free passes because you do have guys who hit really well with runners in scoring position. Aranda, Caminero, Liam Hicks. At one point in the year when Hicks was still in Miami, he led at Major League Baseball in RBI. So we need to keep the free passes basically to 0. And I think Soriano can do exactly that. I think he's going to deal in this game, at least in the first inning, and I think we should be fine. Of course, the Junior Caminero home run threat's always going to be there. Second in the American League in home runs, only behind, of course, the potential Triple Crown winner in Yordan Alvarez. But I think Soriano should be good here. I think so. The strikeout numbers have been down a little bit as a Blue Jay, but it's worked so far. I'm going to take the Nrfi today between the Jays and the Rays, another American League East Nrfi, and of course, I don't know, the 20th Nrfi we've taken this season with the Tampa Bay Rays. I like it enough. Martinez and Soriano, both really good pitchers this season. Minus 130 on the Nrfi from Tropicana Field. On to our third best bet of the video. We move on to our first moneyline play of the day. Let's go to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, between the aforementioned Kansas City Royals and the Vegas, Sacramento, Oakland, California Athletics. If the Royals win today, they could be 8 games out of the playoffs. They could. They could be 21 games under 500 and 8 games out. They've won 3 of 4. Don't look now. Royals sweep the A's, which, guys, they most certainly could. They could be like 7 games out of the playoffs. Just saying, they have a pretty weak schedule going forward. Imagine if this happened. Imagine the Royals got in the playoffs. There's no shot. They just won't. But I will tell you, I've been watching the Royals quite a bit recently. Just because, I watch them. I hate watch the Dodgers a lot. Whether or not we're picking against the Dodgers or picking the Dodgers. There'll be some nights where there's nothing else on, or I'll be monitoring our late night game, and then I'll just also be watching the Dodgers just to hate. Because why wouldn't I? And I've been watching the Royals quite a bit. I'll tell you again, I was very impressed with the way the Royals played against the Dodgers. Did they win any of those games? No. Did they have the lead in all of those games? Yes. And did they choke all those games? Yes. But I thought the Royals played well enough. I really thought so. And, the Dodgers Devil Magic at home got to Kansas City. But the Royals held up a pretty good account of themselves out there, right? Took a game in extra innings on Tuesday. Very competitive game the first game out. Last game they lost 4-2. But regardless, thought the Royals played kind of well out there. I know their bullpen sucks ass, and that's always going to hurt this team. Their starting pitching has been much improved recently. Much improved has been their starting pitching. Now, we don't really get a starter tonight. I'll talk about that in a second. It's going to be a pen day, but I don't mind the guys that they go to in their bullpen day. We'll talk about that in a minute. Again, Noah Cameron the other day, phenomenal stuff for the Royals against the Angels. Took that no-hitter into the 7th inning. He was 8 outs away. Unfortunately, doesn't get it from a bloop shot into left field. But these Royals pitchers have been significantly better recently, at least their starting pitchers. Cameron's been back. Obviously, Waka's had a pretty decent year for the most part. Randy Dobnak, of course, has been great, surprisingly, this year. So respect to what Kansas City's pitching staff has done. And yesterday, Royals win 9-5. You'll take it. Kansas City jumps immediately on the Athletics, and Mason Barnett, who was the starting pitcher yesterday for Sacramento, and the Royals ultimately win the game 9-5. They were in control pretty much throughout the game's entirety. Jeff McNeil started the game with the home run with the leadoff shot, but other than that, not much happened for the A's early in the game as the Royals were able to respond with 6 consecutive runs. Ultimately, Casey wins the game 9-5, and they did have to use quite a bit of their bullpen with Michael Waka going 5, and then just a bunch of guys stacked up after him. But again, it's a bullpen day today for the Kansas City Royals. They will be opening with Daniel Lynch IV, the lefty out of Richmond, Virginia, is a relief arm, but he can get up to, I think, about 9 outs in this game. We'll see how deep he goes, but he will be the first pitcher going today for the Royals. And I don't mind it, of course, getting a lefty out here against the A's. That's cool with me, right? Better matchup against a player like Jeff McNeil. Better matchup against a player like Lawrence Butler, guys who do hit at the top of this lineup. Carlos Cortez, of course, hits from the left side of the plate too. Some pretty good matchups that are built in here that Daniel Lynch gets in his one and only trip around this lineup. I don't hate it at all. Donovan Walton as well probably won't be in the lineup, but maybe will. I'm interested to see how the A's play this. Why? Because you'll see, we don't know for sure who the Royals are going to go to after Lynch. It's not like they really have a specific bulk guy after him, but I'll tell you what they did throughout the course of that game that they go bullpen game against the Dodgers. So they open with Daniel Lynch, and then they go to Jose Cuas, the 32-year-old out of the Dominican Republic who has a 1.64 ERA this season. He's only thrown for 1 out since that last bullpen game against the Dodgers. He got 1 out in Friday night's game against the Angels. So I have to imagine he's going to be the second guy again coming out of the bullpen for the Royals, and then they're going to go to essentially their bulk guy, who is Mason Black. Mason Black has not pitched since that Dodgers game. He can go 3 to 5 innings. So Black's going to be the bulk guy, but they don't go, at least what I don't think they're going to do here, they're going to go to Lynch, and they're not going to go to their bulk guy. They're going to try to get 1 inning out of Jose Cuas, and then the bulk is going to be Mason Black. And we'll see how deep Black's able to go. And then Craig Kimbrell probably gets the ball to close the game. I'm just looking at who didn't pitch yesterday for the Royals and who's healthy or who's, not worn out from that Angels series, who didn't have to pitch much in that or on that West Coast trip. So I think the Royals going to basically use the same relievers they did against the Dodgers. And it worked quite well against Los Angeles. It did. They don't win the game, obviously, but, you'll take a 4-2 loss. And especially, I know the Dodgers have been slumping, but you'll take only 4 runs against the Dodgers on a pure pen game. You will, right? Lynch gives up a solo shot to Mookie Betts. And then Ohtani takes him deep as well. And then Fiducia goes yard off of Mason Black. That's fine with me, man. I mean, limiting that team to 4 runs with a pen game for Kansas City, who's a bottom 5 bullpen in baseball, don't mind it. I'm telling you, man, Casey's playing better right now. They are. Their pitching's been slowly but surely improving. They get rid of some very bad relievers. Strom, Urseg's gone, right? They dropped Urseg, right? I'm pretty sure I'm not hallucinating on that one. They did get rid of Urseg. No, they didn't. Why did I think I saw something that they cut or they DFA'd Urseg? They literally pitched him last night. Regardless. Well, not our problem. There's probably going to be no Urseg today. He pitched against his former team yesterday. My goodness. Yeah, he pitched yesterday, didn't get a single out. Do they not? Yeah, I guess they haven't. Well, obviously they haven't DFA'd him. There's some better arms out of this Royals bullpen right now. And I think against the A's, who are really struggling offensively, we should be okay. And let's talk about it. Who's starting for the A's? It's Jack Perkins. I like Jack Perkins. I really do. I've been cheering for Jack Perkins, right? This is an Indiana guy. Went to, obviously, IU and Bloomington. Big fan. Oh, my goodness. He's been bad this year. I've tried so much to play advanced metrics with Jack Perkins, and we did this for a stretch earlier in the year. I've kept saying, I've always said, man, like advanced metrics aren't that bad, and they still aren't. I'm going to go over this in a second. He's just been unfortunate to have to pitch in Sacramento. He had one start in Las Vegas as well in that AAA park. And when you look at the advanced metrics for Jack Perkins, well, damn, they're not that bad. Look at this. I mean, there is some red in the chart. Fastball velo is good. His chase rate is pretty solid, right? The whiff rate, K rate, all aren't that bad. Expected ERA is 4.26 out of Jack Perkins. His actual ERA is 6.28. So you're thinking, okay, why is he struggling so much? I can't entirely tell you, but what I can tell you is these are the results. And the results haven't been good. Again, trust me, guys, I want to believe in Jack Perkins. I've been down that stretch this year. He has not won a game. The A's have not won a game with Jack Perkins since they were in Las Vegas in June 10th against the Brewers of all teams. That's the last time Jack Perkins has won a game with the A's. Since then, it's been nothing but else. 3 more losses in June, 4 more in July, 3 more in August. If you're counting, that's 10 straight losses with Jack Perkins on the mound. 6.65 ERA in June, 7.79 ERA in July, 11.48 ERA in the month of August. Coming off an atrocious start at home against the Tampa Bay Rays, 5 innings, 12 hits, and 7 runs. Only 6 of them earned. But my goodness, the start against the Red Sox was awful too. Tigers start awful. A lot of really bad outings out of Jack Perkins. And I said this, I think it was the last game that he pitched against Tampa because we had Rays -1.5 in that game. I said, okay, I'm done saying, I expect Perkins to be good. I'm just going to start, I'm not going to play the advanced metrics right now with Jack Perkins. I'm just going to play what I'm actually watching. And what I'm watching is Jack Perkins giving up 1 million runs. Again, his velo is not bad. I think his stuff is decent, but obviously it just has not translated for him this year in terms of the actual results. They need to put him back in the bullpen, in my opinion. He was actually pretty good as a reliever for this team this season. Actually notched 3 saves with the Athletics. And that's what they need to do with him again. But the A's are short on pitchers right now. Luis Severino's down, obviously. And you have a couple guys who are just done for the year with Severino. And Jeffrey Springs is probably done for the rest of the season as well, I think. They had Savali earlier in the year. Of course, they dropped Savali. He's in Chicago now. They DFA'd him. Brutal stuff, but yeah, I'm not going to continue to say, oh, well, the advanced metrics are working for Jack Perkins. I'm going to keep picking him. Guys, I can't do it. I can't do it. And this A's team is so banged up right now. Yeah, bunch of injuries on the squad. We don't know if Jacob Wilson's playing today. We'll see. I don't know. I think he's fine. He's got that finger injury going on. He did not play yesterday after playing on Sunday, so we'll see. Of course, you're still without Soderstrom. You're without Joshua Kuroda-Grauer, who's got the ruptured testicles. You've got, Kurtz, who's out. Denzel Clark's still out. Shea Langoliers. Man, it's a thin lineup right now. In Kansas City, I don't love their lineup, but they're producing a little bit right now. Yesterday, 9 runs out of Kansas City. Carter Jensen, Bobby Witt Jr. is in the ball extremely well right now. He's going to steal all MLB first team shortstop away from CJ Abrams because the Nationals are moving Abrams to second base for the final month of the season. Jack Cax hitting really well right now. Michael Garcia's back and he's hitting well. Salvi, Pasquantino. I'm telling you, Isbell's been good in the 9 spot. The Royals are playing some really good baseball right now. I know they're 22 games under 500, but they're 9 games out of a playoff spot. So maybe the Royals trying to make a push here. I'm joking, but I love Kansas City here. I like their pen day, and I think Jack Perkins makes it 11 straight losses with the A's as a starter. So give me KC. On to our 4th best bet of the video. I know the value's not great on this one, but hold on. We're going to be taking a pretty big underdog in a second to close the night, so it all evens out. -140 for the Milwaukee Brewers at home against the Seattle Mariners. I love the spot for Milwaukee. I don't really know how they lose. Well, I've posed that question a lot with the Milwaukee Brewers, and I've said, yeah, I love the Brewers here. There's no way they lose this game. We broke that finally over the weekend, right? That was their game where If the Brewers had lost to the Dodgers on Saturday, I was going to ban them. With Jacob Mizorowski on the mound, I was going to completely say, all right, we're done with this team until the postseason. Thankfully, Milwaukee took care of business on Saturday night in a matchup that obviously it was just handcrafted for them to win, with Miz going for the Brewers and Robo going for the Dodgers, who's probably out for another month. But we all know the Dodgers, they're doing the fake arm injury with Robo, all right? They're going to bring Robrowski back for the postseason. He'll be a middle reliever for that team. He's got the fake injury. It's unbelievable what they do. Anyways, he's not hurt. It's just, it's their gimmick that they've got going on right now. Brewers, Mariners, though, right? We avoided the ban on the Brewers, and I'll tell you, right, Brewers and Mariners are the two teams that we've gotten the closest to banning this year. Both these teams have been on the chopping block this year. The only two where I've said, okay, if they don't win this game, I'm done with them for the entire year. Both the Mariners and Brewers survived those games, and now we're taking the Milwaukee Brewers at home. Now, the last time Kyle Harrison started for the Milwaukee Brewers, we were more than disappointed. Atrocious stuff against the San Diego Padres. 4 2/3, 10 hits, 8 runs. Now, only 3 of them were earned because there was an error made early in one of Harrison's innings. Should have gotten out of it. Doesn't. It was Ji-Hwan Bae at second base who dropped the ball. I know it was a pretty tough throw from third base, but Ji-Hwan Bae has got to glove that, and he doesn't. Ultimately, it kind of saves Harrison's ERA. But I will tell you, Harrison's home road splits are crazy. I mean, we've got a Brian Wu going on here with Kyle Harrison. I know Brian Wu broke the streak on Sunday. We might be done picking against Brian Wu on the road. And instead, we might just pick Brian Wu wherever he goes. Because if Brian Wu keeps pitching like that on the road, if Brian Wu's just Brian Wu everywhere, if Seattle Brian Wu's showing up on the road, I'm going to take Brian Wu every single game. Anyways, Kyle Harrison is really great at home and awful on the road. 6.1 ERA on the road for Kyle Harrison this season. 1.38 ERA at home for Kyle Harrison for the San Jose, California native. Sign me up for a Kyle Harrison home start against the Brewers. Sorry, against the Mariners for the Brewers. My goodness. Oh, Seattle won on Sunday night. Oh, they beat the Astros. Houston couldn't score on Brian Wu and a pathetic bullpen. Sure. Astros had so many games. Dalton Varsho was like this close to winning the game for the Astros in the bottom of the 8th. It was not that close. It was like this close. The commentators on NBC made us think that, the ball, it just went just a little bit foul. It was pretty foul. It was foul by a wide margin. Regardless, Astros lose the game by 1 run, and it's the solo shots, the solo homers for the Mariners that ultimately win them the game. And that's kind of every night, truthfully, for the Mariners. It's, can they hit enough can they hit enough home runs in general? Obviously, the solo home runs are a product of not getting hits and not getting on base, but you get my point, right? It's how many homers can the Mariners hit in an individual night? Because they're still not good with runners on. They're not good with runners in scoring position. Hunter Brown basically hand-wrapped that game gifted to the Mariners. He walked 5 batters and multiple bases loaded opportunities for Seattle in that game, and they couldn't convert on any of them. And Houston had a bunch of opportunities as well. I felt like that game was just, oh, this team's selling. Now this team's selling. Oh, they're selling the game back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay? That game sucked and it was annoying to watch. But Seattle's not going to score in this game, I don't think. Left-handed pitcher against this lineup doesn't usually result in the best results for the Mariners. Oh, Taylor Ward's in the lineup today. Ooh. Arozarena does get a better matchup, I'll tell you. Randy's a problem against everybody. Okay, especially in the first inning. So don't be surprised when the Mariners go up 1-0 in the top of the first because Arozarena takes Harrison deep. But if that happens, I think Harrison from there probably goes, 7 shutout innings after he gives up a solo shot to Randy Arozarena. But, with the lefty on the mound, you limit the amount of decent matchups for Seattle. They are a team that's equipped to face right-handed pitching. Brendan Donovan bats from the left side of the plate. Dom Canzone bats from the left side of the plate. Cole Young bats from the left side of the plate. Cal Raleigh's better side this year has been from the left side, I think, right? Barely, yeah. He's got a 590 OPS against righties this season. It doesn't really matter. I know Raleigh went yard into the Crawford boxes yesterday or on Sunday, and that was the only way the Mariners won, were 2 Crawford boxes home runs, but whatever. It's the game you play at Daikin Park. What can I say? Raleigh hit a home run 320 feet to win the game. That's so crazy. But you have a lot of left-handed bats, right? Donovan, Canzone, Naylor, Cole Young. I guess Weston Wilson gets a better matchup. Ward gets a better matchup. Colton Emerson's out right now, so they're going Brock Roden. Roden's a switch hitter, 5'7", switch hitter who's actually been pretty decent so far for the Mariners. But he's on the Mariners, so he'll regress eventually at the plate. That's what they all do. I think not Logan Henderson, who's great by the way. I think Kyle Harrison has a really good outing today against these Seattle Mariners, and pitching for the Mariners is Bryce Miller. Do we need to talk about how bad Bryce Miller's been recently? We've been speaking about this for quite a bit now, right? We've been fading Bryce Miller recently. Well, his last outing we did against the Yankees. I've been looking at the last couple outings for Miller, 4.13 ERA in July, but it was really his last 2 starts were bad. So far in August, he's been atrocious. 7.36 ERA for Miller in the month. 11 innings, 13 hits, 9 runs across 2 games against the Detroit Tigers and the New York Yankees. And that Yankees start pretty bad. An eventual 10-5 victory for New York. Miller goes 6 innings, 8 hits, and 5 runs. Like Brian Wu, he's got the whole splits thing going on. He's really good at home, really awful on the road. 2 ERA for Bryce Miller in Seattle, 4.5 ERA for Bryce Miller away from Seattle. Yeah, the season overall, my goodness, season stats is a 3.39 ERA and a sub-1 whip at .99. That's awesome. That doesn't really translate to the road. It just doesn't. I know the Brewers at times can be a little bit of a struggle bus scoring. They were a lot better to close the weekend against the Dodgers, right? What they did Saturday, Sunday, and Thursday, but especially Saturday and Sunday, right? Thursday, they needed the big comeback against Edwin Diaz. What they did at the tail end of that series against the Dodgers to take 3 of 4 was truly spectacular. I question this team at the plate quite a bit sometimes, but when you're getting 4 for 4 nights out of Jake Bauers, he's reaching in all 5 at-bats. When Churrio's going 3 for 5, when Contreras is contributing in the leadoff spot now, they're dangerous. They don't have the star power, obviously. They don't have the name value. I get it, but they do win games, and they've been an annoying team to pick all year long, I will tell you, especially when we pick them in general. But I don't know how they lose here. Bryce Miller really bad on the road. Kyle Harrison great at home. Brewers are still the best team in not just the National League, but in baseball. Do the Rays have a better record now? No, it's Milwaukee by 2 games. Yeah, I'm going with the best team in the sport. Do they win? Do they win it all in the playoffs? Probably not. This is the dumb thing though. They're gonna wind up playing Chicago in the second round or in the NLDS, and the Dodgers are gonna get to play the Braves. It's like the American League. The 2 best teams, in my opinion, guys, the 2 best teams in the American League are Tampa and New York. 2 best teams in the National League are Milwaukee and Chicago. They're going to have to play each other. Now, the Dodgers are most well-equipped to win the playoffs, obviously, and the Dodgers probably beat both those teams. But imagine if the Dodgers had to go play, Chicago in the NLDS and then the Brewers in the NLCS. But they're only going to have to play 1. Whatever, man. Atlanta, we all know the Dodgers get Atlanta in 4 games. It's just... Atlanta's pitching's just not good enough. At least their starters. Anyways, Brewers money line -140. We close the night with the value play, and yes, of course, it is the Washington Nationals. Okay, guys, they can't lose. They can't lose every game for the rest of the season, right? Right? Nobody? Okay. Nationals money line at +135. Why am I doing it? Okay. I think it's way too good to pass up on. I understand. Have the Nationals kind of quit this season? Yeah, they have. They have. Still, a team that has quit and given up still can win once every 4 days. They've lost 5 out their last 6, with their only win being Cade Cavalli taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Okay? They have struggled quite a bit recently. I understand. They got swept in New York by the Mets. Yeah. I don't buy this Cal Quantrill stuff. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Cal Quantrill, I watched his full last start against the Angels because we took Cal Quantrill and the Rangers. Rangers lose the game. It is not on Cal Quantrill, though. I will tell you, I feel like every inning Quantrill is putting a guy on. And every inning it felt like, okay, the Angels are this close to breaking through. Okay, they're right there. They're on the verge of fully breaking through against Quantrill, and they just were never able to do so. The Angels eventually did in that game on the 12th last Wednesday. They did it against the Rangers bullpen, which I was told was really good, but it's not. Whatever. The stats told me they were good. It felt like Quantrill, it was just an eventuality. When are the Angels going to strike? They never did. They did against the bullpen instead. I feel like these recent numbers a little bit out of Quantrill are fake. I can't lie. I don't know. The main reason we took the Rangers last week against the Angels was because, Clausen was pitching for Anaheim in that game. And I will say Clausen's been a lot better recently. I believe he's pitching today, right? Clausen's going, I think. Angels, where are the Angels today? They're in Houston, right? Yeah. George Clausen's pitching. It's Christian Javier at Daikin Park. Yordan's probably taking him deep. I did very closely, by the way, consider going Yordan Alvarez over 1.5 total bases. I got really close to that, but I thought Steven Kwan was a better pick. Just because we haven't done the total bases this year. We've just done hits, runs, and RBI because obviously they're so much easier to cash than total bases. Trust me, we did that a lot last season. Anyways, we're looking at this one between the Nationals and the Rangers. Yeah, I think this Quantrill run ends. The Nationals, the term being due is stupid, I know. But they are very due for one. They're due for a game where they just explode right out the gates. The Nationals have the least amount of comeback wins in baseball, which is just stupid because, again, they have scored by far the most runs in baseball through innings 1 through 6, and then the least amount of runs in baseball in innings 7 through 9. Yes, the Nationals still, by the way, lead all of Major League Baseball in runs scored in general this season. The Nationals have won one game all year long this season where they've trailed after 7 innings. If they are trailing after 7, they've only come back once all year long. I was actually in attendance for that game. Oddly enough, it was against Logan Webb and the Giants. They haven't won it. They haven't had a comeback all year long other than that. So they need to get ahead early, and they need to stay ahead. With a full day off yesterday and a now refreshed Nationals bullpen, they're in a very good position to win today. I don't buy Quantrill. I don't. Abrams is 0 for his last 8 since being told you're a second baseman now. We'll see. I don't think Abrams is making the move this series. I believe it's next series against Miami where CJ will start to play at second base because Nasim Nunez has to play shortstop, but whatever. Not Seaver King, Nasim Nunez, okay. The Nats are probably going to come through against Quantrill today. I'm thinking, of course, CJ Abrams. And guys, it's a revenge series for Abimelec Ortiz, who's been a rising star for the Nationals. He's hitting 300 through like 14, 15 games for the Nationals with a 1,000 OPS, 5 homers, 9 RBI. Abby Ortiz has been great. He's posted better numbers, of course, than Luis Garcia since the Louis trade over to New York. Abby Ortiz revenge series in Texas. He was just, by the way, one of 5 prospects they got from Mackenzie Gore. How about Devin Fitzgerald, who's been in and out of the top 100 list? Gavin Fiend, who'll be back in the top 100 list soon, in my opinion. Alejandro Rosario, who, of course, had Tommy John this year, but should be back next season and should be pretty nasty for the Nationals. And Yermi Cabrera, who, yeah, he's finding his swing. Started the year hot in Fredericksburg, has cooled down quite a bit in Wilmington this season, but whatever. These bats should come through today. I'm looking at Abby Ortiz. I'm looking at CJ Abrams. I'm looking at Dalen Lyle. We need some of the righties to contribute. Dylan Cruz. Andrew Pinckney, if it's him. If it's not, it'll be Jacob Young. Because, actually, Jose Tena might be in the lineup. I'm fine with that. We might have to watch, we're going to have to watch Jorbit Vivas because they insist on playing Vivas every day against righties, which is just the dumbest thing ever. And we're probably going to have to watch Nasim Nunez too. Oh, my goodness. Whatever, man. I still think they can win despite the fact Nunez and Vivas, who are 2 automatic outs, are going to be playing today. Keibert Ruiz is swinging a hot bat right now. Keibert is going to finish with a 750 OPS this season. He is worth every single dollar they are paying him. It felt like one of the worst contract extensions they could have offered, and it's been phenomenal. He's great, okay? Doesn't hit for power, sure. Still do not know how he hit 18 home runs in 2023, but yeah, Ruiz going to bat at least like 270 this year. It's remarkable. I think they beat Quantrill. I think they do. Nationals bullpen is the worst in the sport. Yes, it is 100%. By far the worst in the sport. But you get the A side of the pen today. What's the A side? It's the same bullpen that blew it against the Mets on Saturday. No, it's Clayton Beater, Will Dion. Dion probably can't go today. Pitched a lot on Saturday. Now, Dion's off until probably Thursday. But you get Beater, you get Orlando Revolta. Giovanni Cruz of the Nationals allow him to throw his fastball because they just kind of go slider. They just tell him, keep throwing sliders over and over and over again for no reason. I think they win today. On how can I forget? Starting pitcher today, Jackson Kent. I think Jackson Kent's very undervalued here, guys. Yes, he was pretty bad in his Nationals debut. He went over his strikeouts, which we saw from a mile away, right? We had the over 3.5 Ks for Jackson Kent. He struck out 3 batters in the first inning, struck out Pete Crow Armstrong to start his major league career. He had 6 Ks in the game in general, of course. He went 4 innings, gave up 3 runs. All things considered, it's not that bad because he walked 5 batters in that game. He's got the Andrew Alvarez problem going on. I'm going to credit that a little bit to nerves. I'm going to credit that a little bit to, all right, first start in the bigs. I get it. He's going to be much better his second outing. I do think Jackson Kent is going to be a mainstay in the Nationals rotation for a couple of years, right? We're looking at this future Nationals rotation, at least next year specifically. We're going to have Cade Cavalli, of course, as the ace. We're looking like I'm not even going to include Connolly early because I think he's going to have to get Tommy John. I think he's going to be out next season, but unfortunately, I hope he'll be back. But I'm looking at probably Cade Cavalli. We're looking at, is Andrew Alvarez going to be in the rotation next year? He might have to be. Yeah, I guess. We know they're not going to spend money. It's going to be Cavalli, Andrew Alvarez, Jackson Kent, DJ Hers, either Josiah Gray, probably not Josiah, is going to go to the bullpen. They need to sign one free agent righty innings eater, with 3 lefties likely starting next year in Alvarez, Kent, and Hers. I think Kent is going to be in the rotation next season. Luis Perales will not be because it looks like they're already shifting Perales to a bullpen arm. Fine, we traded Jake Bennett for a reliever. I guess if he's a good reliever, I don't care if he can legitimately get us 6 outs every single game or every other game. Sure, go be a reliever, Luis Perales, but we thought you were a starter, but it's fine. I think Kent's going to be significantly better here. I've watched this guy through the minor leagues. I watched him in Harrisburg. I watched him in Rochester. This is a good pitcher who's got really good swing and miss stuff. And really good ground ball pitcher as well. This awful Rangers lineup is going to struggle. They're going to struggle quite a bit against Jackson Kent, in my opinion. Throw a lefty at this team. I really don't think it matters regardless of a righty or a lefty against Texas because their lineup is just kind of incompetent regardless. But against a lefty, you're probably going to see Wyatt Langford, Brandon Nimmo, Corey Seager, Duran, Berger, who might go yard in this game. He tees off against lefties. Foscue, Freeman, Diaz, Carter. Big plus, no Jock Peterson today. Jock Peterson has been by far the best hitter for the Texas Rangers recently, and I'll say this season he's got an 830 OPS, 22 home runs this year. They don't even bother with Jock lefty because it does not work. They'll go to Foscue instead, right? They started the year with the Andrew McCutchen Jock Peterson platoon. It is now a Justin Foscue Jock Peterson platoon. Fine by me. I much rather see Foscue than Jock. I think Kent's going to have a good game. By the way, the last time the Nats were in Texas, we had a game where Trevor Williams went 5 shutout innings and pitched his way out of a bases-loaded no-out spot in the top of the 5th, okay? Nationals won that game in 2024. I still remember where I was watching that game in Bloomington, Indiana. I was going berserk, okay? Nationals won the game 1-0. We did lose the other 2 games in that series, but I will never forget you. Wednesday, May 1st, I was watching All Elite Wrestling and the Texas Rangers play the Washington Nationals at the same exact time. We won with an Alex Call RBI single in the top of the 2nd. Finnegan got the save against Andrew Heaney and the Rangers. I'll never forget that day. Yeah, good times. Anyways, I'm taking the Nationals today. Our first trip in Texas since May of 2024. I'm going Nationals money line at plus 135. Give me the value on Jackson Kent and the boys. This Cal Quantrill run will not continue. Nats money line at plus 135 to close the night. Folks, that'll do it for our MLB Best Bets here on August 18th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily MLB Best Bets. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.